This week, I am in the throes of entering into Holy Week. Today is Thursday, Holy Thursday, and we are about to enter the Triduum. And this week, I have been trying to mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepare to enter into these very, very sacred days of the church. But it's been challenging because my husband is traveling this week. So that just means there's a lot more responsibilities on my shoulders and a lot less time for myself. And I had jury duty on Tuesday, which the funniest thing, I ran into my priest of all people at jury duty. He and I were summoned on the same day, kind of laughed together. And I said, "Whoa, Father, this sure is ratcheting up our Holy Week, huh?" And he's like, something like that. But thankfully, neither of us were selected for the jury, but it did eat up most of my day. And so I wasn't able this week to participate in a practice that I started last year. I was very excited when I discovered this idea, and I did it last year, and I wanted to continue to let it be a tradition for myself. And it just isn't realistic. And so that idea is to read through each gospel one day a week for the 4 days leading up to Good Friday. So on Monday, you read through the entire gospel according to Matthew, Tuesday, Mark, Wednesday, Luke, and then Thursday, John. And then you're completely and spiritually ready to really enter into Good Friday. And that just wasn't realistic for me this year. As much as I love doing things and I love expecting myself to get 15 million things done when I only have a few minutes here and there. So I'm recognizing I have limits. And so I wasn't going to try it all. And then I realized, you know what? I can't sit down and give over an hour each day to reading through the Gospels. But what I can do is I can read through the Passion narrative of each of them. So on Monday, I read through the Passion narrative in Matthew, and then Tuesday, Mark, Wednesday, Luke. And then today I will read through the Passion narrative in the Gospel according to John. And it's not the same and it's not everything, but it is still really, really helping me stay present and to keep my mind focused on where it should be this week, which is preparing for and really being receptive to what Jesus's passion means to me and how I need to live my life. And if I really understand what is going on, if my head and my heart are truly present, then that will impact the kind of life that I'm leading and the acceptance of my own passions and my own crosses and all of these things. So with that in mind, that sometimes we don't have time to do all of the super tremendous, great big things, I just wanted to give you one little nugget for each of the next 3 days. So one for Holy Thursday, one for Good Friday, and one for Holy Saturday to help you to mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepare for this Triduum. So the Triduum means it's Latin for 3 days, and what it is when we celebrate Holy Thursday through Easter Saturday. So this is, the really, really most important time of the church. And of course, so the first one is Holy Thursday. So at the Last Supper, Jesus did some really, really important things. The first one is he instituted the Eucharist. He broke bread and broke wine and blessed the Father. They became his body and blood, and he shared them with his disciples. And in doing this, he also instituted the priesthood because then he commanded them to turn around and do the same. And this is why and how we are able to receive the Eucharist is because of the institution of the Eucharist, but then also the institution of the priesthood and Jesus assigning men the ability to do these miracles and present them for us. But he also, before he did this, he knelt on the ground and he washed his disciples' feet. And so the nugget that I want you to take away with today is sit and pray and meditate with the fact that Jesus washed Judas's feet. So at this point, Judas was still among the 12. He hadn't left to go betray him. And Jesus knelt down and took Judas's feet in his hand and washed them. And this wasn't a last-ditch effort to try to convert Judas, to try to change his mind. Jesus was showing us what it actually looks like to love our enemies and to turn the cheek when someone has persecuted you. Jesus loved Judas so much, and his betrayal never changed Jesus's love. The thing that cut Judas off from Jesus's love was Judas's choice, not Jesus, because Jesus never turns his back on us. And so if you are in a place where you are not sure that you are still worthy or loved or invited to the supper, just know that the only thing that would stop you from receiving Jesus's love is your own choice to reject it. And then the other side of that is if there is someone who has betrayed you in the worst possible way, if you have a hurt that you are holding on to, you can spend time with maybe going into the Last Supper with Jesus in your imagination and meditate washing this person's feet and praying for them and wishing well for them and praying for the strength to live the way that Jesus asked us to. As for Good Friday, my kids this year asked me what I think is the best question ever. And it's, if we remember Jesus's crucifixion on Good Friday, why do we call it good? Shouldn't it be Bad Friday, Awful Friday, the worst Friday? And the reason that we call it good is that even though Jesus underwent so much torture and suffering, and even though he was completely innocent and was hung on that cross and left there to die, that sacrifice is the sacrifice that has opened the gates of heaven for us because of Jesus's willingness to go and give his life, to lay down his life for us, for you, for me. Because of that, we have the gift of eternal life with him in heaven. And there's nothing better than that. So really, Good Friday should be called Best Friday because it is the day that the gates of heaven were opened for us. And it is just such a beautiful, tangible reminder that some of the things that look like the absolute worst things, through God's amazing providence and grace and authority, he can turn into the best things. And so in your life, if there is some tragedy or some struggle or something that is just so difficult to overcome, if you are going through your own passion right now, just know that God can make that not just Easter Sunday, right? The passion itself can be good and can be redeemed and can have so much worth if we allow God to work those miracles through us. And as for Holy Saturday, a lot of people think and wonder, like, what did Jesus do when he went down into the realm of the dead? And what happened on Holy Saturday? And what was going on? And I heard this from some of my friends from the Augustine Institute. I listened to some of their podcasts, and it really, really struck me. And what one of the professors said is that on Holy Saturday, Jesus rested. That was it. He entered perfectly into the Sabbath rest. He didn't do anything. He didn't accomplish anything. He didn't go anywhere. He didn't see anyone. Nobody came to visit him because of course they were honoring the Sabbath in their own home. And that's why we have Mary Magdalene and the women showing up at daybreak on Sunday to go to the tomb, because of course they couldn't visit on Saturday because Saturday was the Sabbath. But this is what a holy day looks like. This is what a Sabbath rest looks like. And so if you've been through those passions, if you've had those betrayals, if you've gone through things that are more than we can humanly handle on our own, then the only recourse we have is to rest in God, is to take that day and to detach from the world and step away and really, really rest. We don't know how to rest these days. We are constantly being stimulated. And even in our rest, we're being stimulated by our phones and TVs and conversations and things. And silence is just like not a part of our days for the most part. So maybe this Saturday, for this Holy Saturday, you can take, maybe it's just 10 minutes. Maybe you get to do an hour. And maybe you're in a place where you could do the whole day. of that silent rest of just resting and being with the Lord. And the beautiful thing is, when you do these things, when you meditate with these mysteries, when you spend time with them, when you enter with Jesus so fully into his passion, that's when we get the gift of entering so fully with Jesus into the resurrection. We get to celebrate on Easter. On Sunday morning, we get to rejoice and stand up and finally say, Alleluia, God is alive, Christ is alive, I am alive, and I accept that, and I celebrate, and I live in the truth. But first, in order to get to that Easter Sunday, we have to get through the passion first. We have to enter into that, because there is no Easter Sunday without a Good Friday. My last thing that I just want to leave you guys with, I have a very deep devotion to the divine mercy. It is wonderful. Next week's post is going to be all about the divine mercy and what that can mean for you. But if you don't already, I would like to strongly recommend that you start praying the Divine Mercy Novena, and that starts tomorrow on Good Friday. And you pray the novena for 9 days, and it leads right up to Divine Mercy Sunday, which is the Sunday after Easter. And it is a beautiful, beautiful way to prepare for that super special feast that Jesus has given us. So that is all I have for you today. I am Maria Riley, just a sinner in the throes of trying to be a saint.